A Trump-friendly town in Nebraska is feeling the weight of the president's economic policies. Joining us, MS Now national reporter Rosa Flores, who's in Lexington, Nebraska. What exactly is going on there?
You know, Katie, have you ever been in a place where you can just feel the pain and the anxiety? That's what it feels like being here in Lexington, Nebraska. This is a town of under 11,000 people, and 3,200 will lose their jobs on January 20th when the Tyson plant in town closes. People have described to me what's happening here by using the words catastrophe, crisis, the feeling of being collateral damage, hurt, anxiety, agony. I mean, just such powerful words because of what's happening here.
It's Joe from Georgia. So we're getting ready for the first domino to fall, and we know what happens after the first one falls. Well, the state of Nebraska, the governor, Jim Pillen, has asked the federal government for help because they're not going to be able to pay their bills this year. And here's the problem in Nebraska. They had over a $2 billion contract with the Chinese government to export soybeans to China. Well, out of that $2 billion, they've canceled all the contracts. So out of that $2 billion, $350 million was state revenue taxes. They're not getting any of that. And the governor also goes on to say that because the migrant farmers weren't able to work in Nebraska this summer, that those people didn't pay their taxes either. And the farmers who already have crops in the ground, folks, they've already spent their money. They're going to need help too because they're not getting any money from the contracts anymore. So Nebraska is the first state. And when you look at the Midwest, you're probably looking at Kansas, you're looking at Iowa, South Dakota, all of those places that are large exporters of grains to China and depend on migrant farm labor. They're not going to be able to pay their bills either. So here's the first one to fall. But of course, as we do know, a certain person in a certain house in Washington, D.C. at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, they know all about bankruptcy. I'm sure they'll be able to help.
You know, I'm seeing all these videos right now where all these farmers are crying about not getting no help right now. You know what? Let me ask you something. When have you ever heard of a black farmer crying about it? Never. And you want to know why? Because they ain't never got no help in the first place. That's right. USDA's literally admitted to discriminating against black farmers. And literally black farmers had to sue, thousands of them, to get what white farmers are handed for free. And fast forward to today, all these farmers crying that they can't get no help. You see, black farmers, they've been struggling. Y'all just now feeling what they've been feeling for over 100 years. Black farmers, they used to own over 19 million acres of land. But guess what? Systematic racism, denied loans, shady politicians, and legal loopholes wiped them all out. Yeah. And now they're 1% of America's farmland. When the government finally tried to pass relief for the black folk back in 2021, white farmers sued to block it, claimed it was reverse discrimination. Make that make sense. So, you know, next time you see folks complaining about farm aid, why don't you ask them, where's the help for the black farmers? Ask them why their struggle is just now important when others have been suffering for centuries.
Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore. They have all either fled the country, fled the state, They don't want to get raided while at work, so they have just moved on to work somewhere else. And straight up, we are gonna go bankrupt now. We are gonna go bankrupt. And yeah, we voted. We knew that the immigrants would get deported and he was coming after immigrants, yet we still voted for it. Overwhelmingly voted for our own demise. I was talking to my husband last night, and I have to admit that it seems a bit foolish now when you think about it like that we voted for something that is now putting us directly out of business.
That there are 4 things that everybody who's not a Trump supporter thinks about you, and so far you've done nothing to disprove these things. 1, you're uneducated. And I don't mean uneducated in the sense that you didn't go to school and learn to read or do basic arithmetic. I mean, you're uneducated as far as what's going on in the world. You got goggles on, only paying attention to what you want to pay attention to. Dose, you lack empathy. You don't care what happens to somebody else as long as it doesn't happen to you. Imagine for a moment the government started saying, hey, your marriage is illegal. How would you feel about that? How would you feel about that? But you don't care that it's happening to gay people as long as it doesn't happen to you. 3, you lack independent thinking skills, meaning you are incapable of forming your own thoughts, opinions, or viewpoints on things. You need pundit talking points from Fox News or whatever that other OAN. You need those people to tell you what to believe. You don't have the ability to look into those claims and maybe think something else. It's a confirmation bias. You live in this bubble and you refuse to step outside of it. 4, and I think this is the most important one. I think this is the one you really need to work on if you have the ability, and that is critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to look at a situation and say to yourself, you know what, that's kind of fucked up. That's not right, and you can't do that. So I look forward to all the laughing emoji reactions to this video, because the people that I just made these claims about don't have the ability to defend themselves. So they do so just with the laughing emoji. So fire away.
It's really interesting how every time I post about the work that Texans are doing and how Texans are fighting against this regime, I always get comments like this. Texans deserve what's happening to them. You voted for this. And by interesting, I actually mean it's stupid. You've got this guy here I bet nobody in there listened to VP Kamala Harris. Not only did I listen to VP Kamala Harris, I was an invited guest in the VP's house multiple times and introduced her before one of her speeches. I promise you that you did not outwork me this election cycle behind your keyboard. I promise you that. And you all want to claim people like Jasmine Crockett. Where do you think Jasmine learned how to fight? Here in Texas, in the Texas House. Because we've been fighting these battles by ourselves for a long ass time while you've been sitting in your blue ivory towers looking down on us saying it's never going to happen to me, and now here we are. And when you leave comments like this of, Texans deserve it, this is what they voted for, what you're actually doing is perpetuating the rights talking point for them that our rights should be dependent on zip code. That's how they overturned Roe. So congratulations that you would rather point the finger than work on progress with us, because until you're ready to go and do the fight in the hard places, we're not turning this car around.
So as a Nebraskan, the farmers predominantly voted for the current president. They also voted for Pete Ricketts and Deb Fischer, who aren't doing anything for them. And China announced that they're not going to buy corn and soybeans today, or I think they've done it over the last couple days. I think it was last week, because of the trade war their current president that they voted for decided to wage, a trade war with China. They're not going to buy your goods. And I know that a lot of you have said that you want aid. Well, as a taxpayer who lives in Nebraska, who did vote for the right candidate, I don't think I want my tax dollars going to bail you out. I think you actually should sit in your decisions and feel the effects. You want us to. Every time we vote for a Democrat and you say they're horrible. So at this point in time, I'm going to tell you the same thing you say to me back. You wanted to vote for this. Now you get to deal with the consequences. And I don't think I should have to bail you out, because I work hard for my money too. And my dollars shouldn't bail out your bad decisions. So yeah, today I'm telling you, the farmers here in Nebraska, You need to deal with your own decisions. It's your consequences, not mine, and I don't want to pay for them.
Nebraska, for example, a state where Trump's support was about as rock solid as a Midwest winter. Farmers there voted for him in droves, nodding along as he promised to crack down on immigration. They cheered when he pledged to get American jobs back into American hands. But here's the problem. Those jobs? Yeah, they were never in American hands to begin with. Agriculture runs on immigrant labor, undocumented workers who are the backbone of farms, from planting to harvesting to processing. Now, thanks to Trump's immigration crackdowns, those workers are vanishing. And suddenly, Nebraska farmers are waking up to a nightmare of their own making. Crops are going unharvested. Dairy farms are struggling to find workers. Meatpacking plants, the economic heart of many rural communities, are in crisis mode. The people who once scoffed at the idea that immigrants were essential to their livelihoods are now finding out, in the most painful way possible, that you can't run a farm without farmhands.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is something going on here in America, and even some MAGA Republicans are fed up. So Representative Diana Harshbarger was in East Tennessee yesterday holding a town hall, and she called Donald Trump's victory a mandate, and the crowd shot that down right away, started booing her. Many of these people, Republicans, ladies and gentlemen, Republicans. It's very important to note. Then you have Representative Keith Self. He held a town hall in Wiley, Texas, and there were chants of vote him out, and he left the stage. Again, many of his constituents, many of these people, Republicans. And I also found it extremely interesting. Roger Marshall, who's a complete douchebag and a MAGA moron, also held a town hall. And he's a senator in Kansas, and he holds this town hall in Kansas. One of his constituents, a veteran, stands up and says he's worried about veterans losing their jobs. Literally 20 seconds later, he gets up and leaves, and he doesn't even answer the question, and then he's booed. Democrat Congressman Tom Suozzi received a huge standing ovation in a Trump +5 congressional district at Hofstra University after talking about how despicable Donald Trump was, his behavior in the Oval Office with Vladimir Zelensky. Ladies and gentlemen, there's something going on in America. All this stuff happened just over the weekend. People are getting fed up. There is buyer's remorse. We know we have that on the left, but we're getting that more on the right now as people are losing their jobs, people are losing their livelihoods, and they're getting no explanation from the Trump administration, and they're certainly not getting any explanation from the people who are supposed to be working for them, that are Republicans, who many of these people voted for. They're getting booed out of these events, and I think it's saying something as to where we are at right now as America. People are...
I've had enough. Yeah, I've had enough of this horse shit. I don't give a shit what kind of law you make. I ain't going to follow it. I ain't paying my taxes this year. I just don't even care. I'm not going to be ruled by tyrants. I'm done. No taxes. I'm not following your goddamn laws that you make that are arbitrary and unconstitutional. I just ain't doing it. I've had fucking enough of your bullshit. Washington State, Oregon, California, kiss my ass. I ain't following no more laws. No more new laws that don't make no sense. Your little snitch line and all your bullshit you got going on, I'm not doing it. I'm not funding your scams and your NGOs and your fucking bullshit. Your wars, your thieving. Yeah, thieving. You loudmouth politicians that don't give a fuck about the common person. I'm done. I've had enough. I am no longer going to participate in your horse shit. And I don't give a fuck what you try to take from me. I come into this world with nothing. I'll go out with nothing. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you and fuck off. And on top of that, you best leave me the fuck alone, because you won't like the results if you come out here and try to stomp on my neck. It won't end well. I'm old. And I'm mean as fuck. Leave me alone.
Just a funny concepts of caring. Nebraska ranchers are so upset. They're going to lose their quote unquote 300-year-old ranches. Let's see, it's 2025. So that would be 1725? Were there white people having ranches in Nebraska in 1725? Oh, so you guys are liars too, just like Trump, the guy you voted for. And all your workers got up and left. They didn't wait for ICE. So, blessings.
So this morning I ended up on Nebraska Talk, and it was a bunch of people crying, why does anybody care about Nebraska? When we voted for Kamala Harris, when I cast my vote for Harris, that was me saying, I care about you, and I want you to survive and thrive. Okay, you knew better than anybody else that your state thrives and survives off of migrants' backs. Okay? And instead of them waiting for ICE to come, they decided to peace out before they could come and get them. I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. This is what you voted for. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not, this is exactly what you voted for. And now you're feeling it. What do you want us to do? You want a government handout? That's socialism. You voted against that. No. Sadly, the reality is that you'll probably have to sell a lot of your farms for pennies on the dollar to large corporations and manufacturers. But don't worry, they'll probably let you work there for minimum wage.
So the farmers in America, they lost all their workers because they got deported. And then they voted for Trump. And then they lost a lot of the grants because this guy Musk has been, cleaning out, and he's taking from the poor. The farmers can't pay their bills. They're having to sell. And J.D. Vance set up a company so that he could buy farms. They're buying all the farms in America, just like they did with all the private houses. Oh, you guys are so smart. You're brilliant. You can't make this. Okay, I have positive news. Here's the positive news. Decades of proud ignorance that you've had is coming to an end. Jesus.
I don't care. I don't fucking care. All these videos on this app about how in 3 weeks the grocery stores are going to be empty, good. Fucking let that fucking play out. Okay, take some precautions, but let that shit play out. Farmers on this app boo-hooing because they're losing their farms, fuck all the way off. What did you think was going to happen? Joe Biden bailed you out, then you turned around and voted for Trump. So yeah, I'm glad that all your government grants and bailouts and farmer welfare got taken away from you. And I hope to God a Democrat buys your land and is profitable. Truckers. Oh my God, the amount of truckers on my algorithm right now boo-hooing that they don't have any loads, which by the way, at first is kind of funny. But what? 90% of you voted for this. What the fuck did you think was going to happen when he tariffed the whole world and there was going to be no product to move around the country? Hello? Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm scared to death of the fucking shitstorm that we are all about to fucking walk through. And the longevity of those empty shelves fucking keeps me up at night. But the only thing that keeps me going is that any day
American farmers overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump in this past election, and they're about to have an FAFO moment. As background, American farmers export $15.2 billion in soybeans to China every single year. And now, because of Donald Trump's tariffs, these farmers are in big trouble. 8 out of the 10 states that produce the most soybeans that are exported to China voted for Donald Trump. The last time Donald Trump was in office, the agriculture sector lost $27 billion as a result of his previous tariffs. As a result of Donald Trump's previous rounds of tariffs in 2018, China began to seek alternative sources for soybeans outside the United States. Since 2018, China has developed a strong relationship with Brazil, accounting for 73% of all soybean exports from the country. China's purchase of soybeans from Brazil has now skyrocketed this year, and it is expected that they will replace the United States and all of the farmers who depend upon those exports in the near future.
Farm workers asking Trump to spare their staff and their farm workers from these mass deportations. Nearly 2 million of the farm workers don't have status, and they're afraid that there's going to affect the food supply chain. I mean, I'm afraid about that too. Okay, between all the tariffs and the mass deportations, the price of all the food we eat is going to skyrocket. You thought inflation was bad. This is going to be worse. So anyway, it's good to hear that they're banding together asking Trump to spare, but it's not just them that need to be spared. This is according to a Reuters article just recently. My name's Ruby Powers, your go-to immigration attorney.
I voted for Donald J. Trump in the 2024 presidential election, and I am starting to regret my vote. When I voted for Donald Trump, I was under the impression that we would be getting rid of the undesirable illegal aliens. Now I have no one to work on my farm. What am I supposed to do? Pay them a living wage? This isn't handout city. I'm not giving these people no handouts. And how am I even supposed to do that anyway? I thought the plan was to tax the poors. Okay, I thought we were going to tax the poors. I make $25,000 a year. I'm not one of them. I'm not one of them poors. But why did my taxes raise? I thought us good folks were supposed to be getting tax cuts. That was what I thought. Plus, I'm white. Why did my taxes raise, and why do I have no one to work my farm? I do not understand this, and I know that this was not what Donald Trump meant to happen. I know that he doesn't want us good Trump supporter folks suffering, but we are. Donald Trump, please reverse this. I'm a white person. I am not supposed to be suffering. It was supposed to be.
Hey, Nebraska, do you need a tissue for your issues? Hey, Nebraska, save the drama for your mama. What happened, Nebraska? Did voting for Trump ruin your economy? Oh, that's weird. That's so weird. It's kind of like we told you so, right? Oh, I love this. I like to stick it in your face and rub it in. It's kind of like, when Trump was telling everybody he was going to come after the undocumented people in this country that were working hard and deport them, that they would kind of move to a state they felt safe in. And apparently, Nebraska wasn't one of them. They packed up their stuff and they headed on out to a state that would welcome them with open arms. So now you're going bankrupt. And as somebody that lives in a blue state, I could give a shit less. Boo-hoo. Oh, and I can't wait for the hated comments. I can't wait for it. You voted for this. You voted for this. And now you're getting it. So why are you mad at us? We didn't vote for this. Nope. We voted completely against this. You voted for this. I better not get one BS comment. Not one. Not one. Oh, how mean you are. The stink. You're so mean. Shut up. Shut up. I'm not mean. I'm just giving you what you wanted. You wanted this. You voted for it. You made your bed. Now lay in it.
Nebraskans are pissed. Bigley, Askins, the Askins are pissed. Nebraskans. No one wants to hear Farmer John with his butt crack showing, married to a Karen, complaining about losing your little farm when you voted for me. They don't feel sorry for you. And I don't need your votes anymore, so I don't care. Bigley, Nebraskans, what did you think was going to happen? If all you workers were Mexicans and we got rid of all the Mexicans, who's going to be your workers? Guess what? You can take a page from the book of the Native Americans, followed by the African Americans, Chinese Americans, Indian Americans. Listen, what we're gonna do is crash the economy so all the rich people can buy up everything for super dirt cheap, including your land, Nebraska farmer dude. I don't know. And once we buy it for dirt cheap, we will hire you to work on said land. Hello, this is a tale as old as time. We've done it so many times before. And the fact that you thought you were exempt is absolutely hilarious. Bigley, it's funny because you guys are really effing around and finding out. Decided to put a little pause on the tariff situation. Canada had a problem and we came in and helped them solve it. They had a problem that there were tariffs that they could not pay. And I said, I will be your savior. I will take the tariffs away. You're welcome. Thank you. Nebraska, I've actually sold Nebraska to Vladimir Putin. And we know I like to say Putin. That's my friend. In exchange for 2 new mail order brides that should be here by Thursday. One of them's gonna come with me into my forever cryo chamber where I will live in infamy and be the president of the United States for the rest of existence and time. Bigley, we're doing very well with Russia. Russia's really enjoying us and we're really enjoying Russia, and they're bombing the hell out of Ukraine right now. And I don't like the Ukraine guy because that guy is tan and he's kind of sexy. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't like that about him. Vladimir Putin is much more pale. He makes me look shiny and orange. And that's the kind of leadership that I really look up to. Bigley, I do. We're having a good time. Everyone's having a good time this pregnancy, and you guys keep trying to come and interfere with your world news and your disasters. We like a good disaster. It's good for the millionaires and billionaires because we can buy up everything dirt cheap, including labor. Including you. We need a workforce. Too many of you farmers want to own your own land with government subsidies. Not anymore. You got what you voted for. Bigley, you got what you voted for.
Thank you for staying tuned to watch those amazing clips. A growing number of American farmers say they are facing some of the toughest financial conditions they've seen in years, especially in Nebraska, where agriculture is a major part of their economy. Most Trump voters interviewed by news outlets and on social media have expressed frustration over rising production costs, lower profit margins, and uncertainty in their farm economy. Many of them even say they regret their vote, believing the economic challenge have become harder than they expected. Others, however, continue arguing that global markets, weather conditions, and long-term agricultural trends, not just politics, are responsible for the difficult farmers are facing. What everyone seems to agree on is that farming has become more expensive. From fertilizer and fuel to machinery and labor, the cost of keeping a farm running continues to climb, putting enormous pressure on family-owned operations. As American agricultural sector faces these challenges, many farmers are asking the same question: who has the best plan to protect rural communities and keep family farms alive? That is the question everyone is asking in Nebraska, as many farmers are going into bankruptcy. If you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more updates on US politics, agriculture, and current affairs that has much to do with Black American in general. Thank you. See you in the next one.